Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Diversified miner Pallinghurst has invested in a low-energy hydrometallurgical alternative to high-energy smelting. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer tells us more. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
Pallinghurst has been studying the environment-friendly CAL process for some time. Can you tell us about this alternative to smelting?
Yes, smelting takes up a lot of energy. It requires 1,600 degrees Celsius, and it's really something we should have moved away from a long time ago. They've been talking about a hydrometallurgical process, which CAL is, and getting away from the pyrometallurgical process, but it's always just talk, and it never happens. Keith Liddell, who was part of Mintech, he's now patented a new system, hydrometallurgical process, that Pallinghurst has been looking at since 2012. And they say that the initial tests now are quite positive. So this gives a fantastic new possibility in South Africa where you can process your platinum, but with far less electricity. And we know we're so short of it. We're talking about a fifth of the electricity, so it's really a complete different approach, and it also moves into one step of refining. So you could have a sort of situation where you beneficiate on site. It might be possible to beneficiate on site. They're thinking of that, with catalytic converters. We've been talking about a Silicon Valley for platinum for so long. This could be the way in, this CAL process, and that's the initials of Keith Liddell. His initials are CAL. And he's been studying this for a long time, really. So he's been patient with it, and the only uptake has been Pallinghurst, as far as I know. If they get it right, it's going to spread through the industry, I'm sure, because of the power situation now with Eskom not being able to supply.
Now, what is the main reason for the CAL process consuming so little power compared to conventional smelting?
There's so much waste in our mining. It's mind-boggling. When you look at the amount of waste that we carry around, transport, even put through the smelting process, and which uses energy. This waste uses energy. It's silly. It's folly. And with this, the waste that goes through does not change at all, and it doesn't make use of any of the electricity that's required. So, who wants to spend money on waste that's giving you no return? But this is a feature of our mining. If you examine all the methods that they use at the moment of mining, the level of loss is huge, and the waste factor and moving waste around and even spending electricity on waste is really something that we should move away from.
What sort of kilowatt hours are we looking at that this process uses?
We're talking here of 140 kilowatt hours of electricity for every ton of concentrate versus like 1,000 kilowatt hours, for every ton of concentrate smelted. So it's like 14%. It's a very major, dramatic change. And hopefully they can get this right. They certainly have been working on it for a long time and haven't been speaking about it during this period. The latest presentation of results by Pallinghurst, they said we've invested in this, and with the initial tests are very positive. And they even speak of possibly, other companies taking it up as well, which will be good if the technology can be used by a lot of companies. The price factor will go down. But it's not an enormous price that they're asking for this, because of, the sort of measure of thumb is that if you use it for 250,000 ounces of platinum group metals, an operation, say a 250,000 operation, it'll cost about $65 million.
Okay.
So it's not an enormous amount of money in the scheme of things.
In the savings you'll make in the savings of electricity.
Exactly. So the potential is huge. I just hope it is adopted and we start going through with it, because it could also mean that making other products with platinum on site might be a possibility, and that dream of a Silicon Valley for platinum might just emerge thanks to technology like this.
Yeah. Also, it's environment friendly, so it would have carbon dioxide.
Yes.
Less carbon dioxide benefits.
Yes, it emits about 440 kilograms of carbon dioxide, CO2, compared with 1,400 kilograms, per ton. So it's a dramatic change.
Yeah.
But a big thing as well is that it doesn't, the chromite in the UG2 ore is often a problem. When you see these smelters have technical problems, It's often because of the amount of gumming up that occurs through the chrome being in that upper group 2, not so much in the Merensky reef. You know, you've got various types of platinum reef that you get platinum out of, but the UG2 has got a lot of chrome, and this causes complications with the smelting process, whereas it doesn't with this process. So that's another major benefit.
It's an all-round benefit.
All-round benefit, yeah. It's just ticks the boxes very, very well.
Yeah. Now, Pallinghurst recently reported $100 million in net group profit for the year ended, for the half year ended June 30. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, you know, I mean, Pallinghurst is made up of several platforms, and one of its best performing at the moment is the gemstone, the coloured gemstone, gem fields. That is really doing well. It tripled its revenue in the year, and it's, you know, it had its first auction in ruby, so it's well entrenched in emeralds. It's having very good results from its auctions, almost like the De Beers of old. You know, they're starting to move into these coloured gemstones and doing very well. Sapphire is another area they're going into. And then you've got another important leg of of Pallinghurst, and that's the steel products section of it. So it's manganese and iron ore. And the Cheapy manganese mine in the Northern Cape, the logistics with that is very impressive. You know, their partnership that they formed with South Africa's Transnet is so good. And they're getting their metal into the market efficiently because of this link. And there's growth potential there, and also quite substantial growth potential in Australia with iron ore, where a new port is opening up, and they could become part of getting an allocation for the iron ore export through this proposed new port, which would be a big boost for them as well. So the Fabergé part of it has gone into gemstones, you know, it's gone into gem fields, so those two have merged. And I think that makes sense. Fabergé making use of that old luxury ideal from Russia. You know, they have the license for that, and they put those two together, and it seems to be working well. So all in all, Pallinghurst is, you know, slowly coming out. It doubled its the value of its share price over the last 12 months, but off a low base, you know. So it's got to be understood more, I'm sure, by analysts. Exactly what the value is of the various parts of it has to be spelled out, which I see the directors did this time. And hopefully that will, you know, really get their share price pumping, which I think they're hoping will happen, because they've been waiting for some time.
Well, thank you very much, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Shannon.
That's it for today. Join us again next time for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.